Welcome, welcome, welcome. What's up, everybody? This is Samantha K, and welcome to the Samantha K Experience. All right, this is my first podcast, and I just want to welcome you all, and I hope you guys are doing wonderful out there. This podcast, is based off of my Samantha K Experience blog where I review TV, movies, and a lot of books because I'm a very avid reader and I just basically love reviewing stuff. I don't really do reality shows too much because I just not really into those type of things. It just kind of never really sat right with me in terms of reality TV. But to each his own. If you love reality TV shows, then more power to you. I'm not gonna knock it. It's just not my thing. But I definitely do like some nice drama and some TV shows. So I've actually been watching a few movies recently, and in no in particular order. I've come across a couple of movies that I've noticed on Netflix. I've watched a few Christmas movies. I think the most recent one I've watched was, I believe it was Operation Christmas Drop. And I watched that like a couple of weeks ago. It was okay. It wasn't bad. I was a little bit, I would say on a scale of 1 to 5, I would give it probably maybe 3 stars. Only because of the fact that I felt that in some cases that it dragged on a little bit, and I was just waiting for it to get to the typical, romantic story point. But yeah, it was pretty okay. I think, what else I've watched? Let's see. I've watched the new movie Ava, starring Jessica Chastain, and I absolutely love her. Absolutely love her to death. It had her, Colin Farrell, and John Malkovich, who's great. All 3 of them are really excellent actors. I think this might have been maybe the 3rd film that I saw that starred Jessica in. I believe the last one I saw was The Help. I saw The Help like a couple of months ago, and I didn't even realize that she was in it, and I just thought she was fabulous. And I just watched her and I'm like, oh my God, like I wish that I had her level of charisma, and she's just awesome. Ava basically is a spy movie. Actually, I would say assassin movie. If you are one of those people that love a good action storytelling and just the shoot 'em ups, I believe that Ava is right for you. It has I think maybe when it first came on Netflix, I believe it was at like number maybe 2 or maybe 3. It was like in the top 5, if I'm not mistaken. And it was pretty good. Like, I enjoyed it. Like, they left it open where, there might be a part 2. And I've noticed this with a lot of the Netflix movies nowadays. Like, things like Old Guard. What was that joint that has Ryan Reynolds in it? 6 Underground. Like, they left movies like that open for a sequel. And I'm like, even Mark Wahlberg's Spencer, I think it's called Confidential, that left it open that he might come back for a sequel. Like, I noticed that this is becoming a thing now in certain movies, and this is like the 4th movie where I've seen in recent weeks that it's like, oh shit, like they're gonna have a sequel to this joint. And I wouldn't mind seeing a sequel with Ava, seeing as how, the way how it ended. I don't want to give too much away because I don't want people to be like, yo, Sam, why you just killing out, spoilers, why you killing out stuff? And I'm like, I don't want to be that person. But yeah, definitely, if you want to sit down and watch Ava, I recommend that. There's a docu-series also out there on Netflix that I just started watching was Manhunt. Deadly Games. This was, I think, the 2nd season, and it's about the 1996 Olympic bombing that happened at Centennial Park, where the security guard, Richard Jewell, was accused of setting off a bomb, and unfortunately 2 people had lost their lives that time when the bomb went off, and over 100 people got injured. And he was under a lot of media scrutiny because it was assumed that he knew where the bomb was planted, and he made the bomb, and therefore to try to be like the hometown hero, to make himself look good. And the FBI put a lot of pressure on him, and just pretty much he was proven guilty before proven innocent. And it took a lot of time, many days in fact, for them to actually clear him of any charges or potential charges. I don't think he was actually charged, but he was looked at as a suspect. He was deemed a suspect. But you know how a lot of these things go. People do extensive background checks, and then some of you might wonder, as did I, why did it take so long to clear this man if he didn't do anything wrong, if he didn't do anything. But basically the show just gives you, like, from his perspective as to what happened, and not just his perspective, but other characters like the ATF agent, who's played by this wonderful actor named Arliss Howard. He's really on point, like, with all the experience, and he pretty much tells the story from the side of the ATF guy who was trying to solve who committed this horrible act, and how the FBI kind of like just shunted the ATF and all the other law enforcement agencies aside and just tried to solely focus on the case and take over the whole case for themselves. And I'm not saying that this is actually what happened, but this is what is assumed to be happened, and then how the press got involved and just pretty much just put this guy under, like, the fire, man. Like, they just really scrutinized this guy. But yeah, if you want to check out that series, I suggest you do that. I know they just dropped a new show called Ripper. It's just basically talking about Jack the Ripper and the Whitechapel murders back in the 1800s. I know it's pretty much a lot of people know about Jack the Ripper and the 5 murders that he had committed back in the day, and even to this day, no one seems to know who he was. I mean, there have been some things in recent months, or even last year, I remember reading something about somebody found something that might have suggested that they found out who he was, but it was never really anything concrete. But like I said, if you want to check that out, you're welcome to do so. I haven't gotten a chance to watch that yet, but when I get the chance, I think I'm might give that a look-see. In terms of fashion shows right now, personally, if you're into fashion, I'm gonna tell you like this. I may have a show coming up maybe in February. I haven't really fully decided yet on how I'm gonna approach that, because I do interviews and I do these shows, but since everything in the current climate that we live in, it's kind of hard to do certain things, like, let's say, go to attend fashion shows outside of the home and travel. But I've been fortunate to attend a couple of fashion shows via Zoom, and just get like a different taste of what these fashion designers have brought to the audience, since we can't really see the outfits and the models in person. So it's been pretty interesting, but I may have something coming up in terms of that in weeks, and I'm gonna keep you guys posted on that. As far as I'm trying to think of what else that I watched recently. Oh yeah, last night I actually watched the WWE TLC pay-per-view. If you guys are into wrestling, I used to be like really hardcore into wrestling when I was like a kid. My father got me onto it when I was like a little mini Sam. I used to watch wrestling on Channel 5 with my dad. It used to have Superstars on 11 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken, or 12 on Saturdays, and Wrestling Challenge was also around the same time on Sundays. So I was familiar with the wrestlers like the commentators like Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby the Brain Heenan, and even when Vince McMahon was a commentator, to me I felt like he was more of a better commentator because he would have like this type of voice that Vince got you excited, he got you hyped, and made you wonder like, oh, what's gonna happen next. And then a few years pass, you find yourself in your late teens, maybe early 20s, and you're like, yo, this is bullshit. But certain things, you kind of see through it. You may not know the full-on language of wrestle speak, professional wrestling speak, but you kind of see like where there's certain cracks in in their visage, so to speak. So I kind of weaned off of it, I believe maybe sometime after Eddie Guerrero had passed away back in 2005. I kind of like, was pretty much done with wrestling. And then maybe a year later, then we heard what happened with Chris Benoit. It was just kind of like, dude, you know what? Maybe this thing just isn't for me anymore. And a lot of times I would tune in and watch on SmackDown, and I'm just like, yo, this is just bullshit. Like, it was just a lot of predictability and a lot of storylines and things that they have done in the past when they were like still in the Attitude Era that they were trying to do, and they were trying to shift over towards a more family-friendly environment. I was just like, dude, I just can't. I just can't deal with the super cheesiness. And then there was like promos that made no sense, and then there were like just a few things that were like, why do you keep constantly pushing this guy down the audience throats? And some of these matches weren't really all that good and exciting. Titles changing hands when it didn't really need to be. Pushes that didn't make sense of some people who weren't getting pushed, and the stopping starts of pushes, and just basically overall, like, it was just certain things about it was trash. But in recent years, I've been starting to watch more of the pay-per-views, and there were certain wrestlers that I like nowadays that that started grabbing my attention, like people like Daniel Bryan. I love me some D. Bry. Like, he just couldn't do. I swear, like, this man could have gone outside and just like, spoke like most craziest nonsensical shit in the world, and he would just been awesome to me. He's good, and he likes to. From what I heard and watching all of these other like wrestling things on YouTube and stuff, he's a really decent guy, but he's just one of the guys that I like, talking about and watching. Another guy that I like a lot is Drew McIntyre, but it's a long story, but that one, but that's more of a like, I like him because of his wrestling ability, and he ain't bad looking to look at either. But anyway, I digress from that. So basically, I watched the TLC last night, and I was just like, wow, they really did have an Inferno match. And for those of you who didn't see it, I'm not really gonna give you too much spoilers here on it, but let's just say that somebody did get set on fire. Supposedly got set on fire. Let's just put that in quotes. And it wasn't a bad show. I think overall I would give it like a B+ as well. There were some things, of course, obviously, that it still needs to work on, but in terms of like stories and character growth and stuff, I think that they kind of nailed it with like the Drew McIntyre and the AJ Styles thing. I didn't really understand why Drew and AJ's match was first on the card. Why did it start the show to begin with? I mean, I feel like they really had a good, decent match. I kind of was a little skeptical when I saw like The Miz and Morrison came out and damn near ruined the entire thing. And I was just like, oh, Jesus Christ, guys, come on. Like, you really... And that was like one of the things I was just like, I swear to God, if they take this belt off for Drew, I'm gonna lose my entire shit. Like, it was just one of those things that I really was like, I can't really, I just don't you know. But yeah, I think it was awesome. Like, it was all right. It was one of those things where WB has this tendency, for me personally, like, they have hit or misses pay-per-views, excuse me. Like, one pay-per-view will be awesome, and then the next pay-per-view will be like a complete dumpster fire, you know. And it's just like, they're not consistent, and that's what I think is one of the problems that's been killing them. Also, battling this freaking pandemic for these past few months, damn near a whole year, it's been like, it's a pain in the ass. Like, the last time I actually went to a live event was in at the Barclays in early March of this year, right before we went into quarantine with a few friends of mine, and it was just like it was at the road to WrestleMania. It was literally at the beginning of the road to WrestleMania almost. And I remember feeling like the big crowd pop that, you know, like people like Drew McIntyre got, and then also the reactions to, like, when, you know, Seth Rollins was in his Messiah thing, and that was just like a brand new thing, and it was just because of the whole fallout from the last year's Hell in a Cell fiasco. It was just like, just to see the interactions, and yes, the wrestlers do need that live interactions, and it's just been killing them, and it sucks because, like, guys like Drew, who were like first time champions up until before he lost the belt to Randy Orton, like at I think the last pay-per-view that we just recently had, I can't remember, Jesus, it's pretty bad. Yeah, like guys like Drew who really need to have that audience, you know, interaction, you know, to help boost his character. And so does Roman Reigns, and Roman has been doing excellent from what I've heard and what I've seen. You know, it's just like a complete shift. Like, this was a Roman that we should have had, you know, a few years before, instead of Roman who barely could cut promos and you know, did the same shit all the time, and you know, this is the Roman I loved Roman. Like, I used to hear him get a lot of shit, and I'm like, come on guys, you know, he could get better, you know. I was one of those people, you know. But I feel like he's doing really good in what he's doing at the head of the table, you know, and I like the fact that he's putting in the submission in there too, and I was like, holy shit, he actually could do more than just a Superman punch. All right. You know, so I think that's good. I'm just waiting for him to fully change his theme song, because that whole Shield shit gotta go. You know, even his whole wardrobe. I mean, now he doesn't have a shirt on, and I'm not mad at that. But, you know, I feel like to completely, you know, make him over as a heel, new theme music, definitely new ring attire. I don't really give a shit about how he holds it, how he wears his hair. He could wear it up or down, you know, as long as it's not a man bun, because we already seen that with the Messiah. I just hate man buns, period. It just sometimes just looks so stupid and just so yuppie, and I just can't deal with it. But whatever. I think I think that, yeah, he definitely is doing really good, and I'm really proud to see Roman pretty much excel beyond people's expectations, and I just hope that people will stop giving him a lot of shit and just embrace him as a heel. This is basically what we wanted to see for these past, you know, 5 to 6 years that he's been, you know, pretty much trying to be at the head of the table. What else I would say that was okay? The women's tag match between Asuka and Charlotte Flair versus Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. What can I say about it? Shayna is strong. I like Shayna. I love the hell out of Asuka, and it was okay to see Flair come back. I mean, a lot of people, including myself, were like, "Oh, come on, she's already back, you know, and you already put her in title contendership already." And I think that's one of the reasons why she gets a lot of flack because of it is because of the fact that she, as soon as she comes back, she's already jumping into a title shot when that could have went to somebody else who was just as deserving. And I think that's one of the major issues that a lot of people, a lot of the fans have in terms of her, is because it feels like because of who she is and who she's related to, that she is going to have automatic, everything's given to her pretty much. And I don't know if that's always true, if that's even the case, but I personally feel that it is kind of unfair. But then when you look at the rest of the roster on both shows, like Raw and SmackDown respectively, it's like, well, who the fuck else is going to be on, and especially on Raw, since they took out Lana during the week, who the hell else is going to be this girl's partner? I mean, it wouldn't make sense putting people like Natalya in the thing. I don't even know if Natalya's still on the same show. Like, this is how bad it is for me, because I don't remember a lot of the female wrestlers on the show. But like, is anybody really in the same caliber as Asuka, Flair, even Shayna Baszler? You got to look at it from that perspective. And I think that the women need to build up, well, the company needs to build up more women wrestlers instead of all of this frou-frou shit that they tend to do. They need to focus on other things. Like, I'm looking at it, and even on SmackDown, I'm like, well, aside from Sasha Banks and Bayley, I can't really see any other females there, or women, period, that could hold a candle. You got Becky's out on maternity leave, and you got, who else to hold the spot? And it's pretty much like a lot of people have said, it's pretty much been the 4 horsewomen holding it down in respective times, and Asuka. So it's kind of like, well, then what else the hell are these women are supposed to do? Be stuck in catering, or are you going to show them their full potential? But one thing I must say, the match with Sasha Banks and Camilla has gotten better ring wise. I do give her that. But I feel, again, you take somebody off of TV for a certain amount of time and then you bring them back. Why the fuck couldn't you have just brought somebody else up who's been sitting there for months and months and months, who may be ready, who may want the responsibility, and who may just be as hungry to, be in the title contendership? Now I get that, Bayley had just lost the belt at Hell in a Cell and stuff, and now it's time for her to maybe fight somebody else. I think Naomi's still out on injury, but I think Naomi might have been shifted to Raw, I think, from the draft. So she's not even a factor. Then who else you're going to put up there? They haven't showed me, or anybody else for that matter, they have anybody else that could hang. So of course they're going to bring back freaking Mella to go ahead and do all of this shit. And then, it's just kind of one of those like, well, damn if you do, damn if you don't moments, But yeah, it's just been pretty interesting seeing the women's division. And the thing about it is, it's like a lot of these matches that they put is just like half-assed build-ups. Like, literally, you cannot build a title match with only 2 weeks of fucking build. Like, that's ridiculous. A build needs time, and it needs time to develop a story. So I don't know exactly why, from the time frame for when Carmella started attacking Sasha, it didn't really seem like there much time had passed between from when Bayley dropped the belt to Sasha. So it was like, what the fuck is this? Now, where did this chick come from? Where was this beef? And then they got her doing this whole champagne thing and then smashing the bottles in this girl's back. And I'm like, the fuck? That's a waste of good alcohol, man. What's wrong with you? And, it just didn't really seem like, it's just like there's something missing. Like, there's no substance there. Like, I need you to tell me a story. Like, where does this come from? Like, what is going on? And, excuse me, I don't think they really have mapped that out yet. Because at the end of the day, there is one major person that is still not there. And as much as a lot of people don't like her, some do, some don't, you still got to worry about whether or not Ronda Rousey is going to come back. Because like Brock Lesnar, in the sense, you want her to fight somebody who may be just as good a draw as she is. And I personally feel that, yes, Sasha's fought her before, but I do think that that could be a good match too. I also do think that if and when Becky decides to come back, we really need to get that damn match that should have happened at WrestleMania 2 years ago between Becky and Ronda. But then they pushed Charlotte Flair inserted in the match, and then it just became a triple threat. They need to really stop doing that. Like, listen, if you had two people beefing, let it stay to two people. Don't insert a third or fourth other fucking person who had no business being there, who themselves could have had their own personal beef, and then just left it at that. But no, the company continues to do stupid shit all the time, and they're inconsistent, and you know, it's just a bunch of garbage. But other than that, I think the pay-per-view was okay. I know, I'm sorry I went on a tangent, but there was just certain things that I noticed. I didn't really like the men's tag team champion match too much. I felt like I saw like a lot of holes inside of the New Day versus the Hurt Business match. There was a lot of flubs and a lot of things that I really didn't like too much, and I was just like, what's going on with the guys? Like, it just, something just felt kind of off with like the offense on New Day's part. And it's no disrespect to New Day and stuff like that. I like me some Kofi and Xavier, but I just felt like there was something off. Maybe it felt like maybe somebody was a bit tired. Maybe Kofi was a bit tired. It just didn't seem like Kofi had the same amount of energy that he would have had. And it was like certain spots that looked kind of sloppy, like people looked like they were missing or not really connecting that well. And I was just like, oh God, no. You know, it's like, if I can see that, then I know other people could see that too. And I was just like, wow, okay. I just want to say congratulations on the winners of the tag match. I guess I'm not going to tell you who won, because I'm kind of don't want people to be like, why is she giving us all this information? But just gonna have to watch it and find out, you know, who won. What other matches happened? I think I might have been missing something. I know I think I talked about Roman Reigns, and I didn't mention his match with Kevin Owens. That match was really good. Like, Kevin, you know, say what you want about Kevin Owens and stuff like that, or, you know, some people make fun of these wrestlers because they may not be in the best physical condition. They're not like, you know, with the 10,000 packs and you know, the biceps for days and you know, but say what you want about Kevin Owens, man. This dude really brought it last night, and he really impressed me. Sometimes I'm hot and cold depending on KO, but KO is really good at what he does. He's one of those guys, just like Keith Lee, or very big, agile dudes that could get shit done. It's just whether or not the company, again, is willing to give them the rock and hold on to the rock and just, you know, persevere and do what they got to do. You know, at the end of the day, you know, whether it's through storylines and giving them good workers to wrestle, you know, it's a combination of things. But yeah, KO and Reigns match was really good. I actually liked the AJ and Drew's match, and I also like Roman and KO's match. The Fiend and Randy Orton, I mean, there ain't really much I can say in terms of the fact that it was nice to see fire again after all these years. It wasn't in the same way how we all were accustomed to it back all those years ago. Somebody mentioned that it's been like 14 years since the last Inferno match, and I was like, Jesus Christ, how many people I've known have had kids then, but you know, in that space of time. But it's like, wow, 14 years? That's a long ass time. But you know what? I'm glad that the match did happen. I think the match was cool. It had cool visuals, especially in certain camera angles, because every time like the camera was shift, it always looked like the Fiend and Randy were always on fire. So I think that was pretty cool. The ending part was okay, and I kind of figured out how they did it, but with somebody being set on fire and burned alive. Again, you guys just gonna have to go watch it. I think overall, like I said before, I give the pay-per-view a B+. There's some things that they just need to tighten up on, but yeah, other than that, I think that they did really, really good with this pay-per-view. It was short than some of the other pay-per-views in the past, which is good, because I don't want to sit there for like a gabillion hours and then have to worry about shit. Let me get to a commercial break and then have to go use the bathroom or something. But other than that, I just think that yeah, it was pretty good. I think it was pretty all right. I didn't fall asleep during it, so I guess that's a good thing. Well, I think for me, I don't know. I'm trying to think about anything else that I've given thought on in terms of viewing. And in terms of the writing or reading aspect on things, definitely the reading aspect. I've come across a few manhwas from webtoons that I've been reading. I started reading Assassin Roommate again. It completed sometime in the summer, late early fall actually. The Assassin Roommate is written by Monica Gallagher. You can also find her on Patreon under her name, Monica Gallagher. She does nice, cute little artworks and stuff like that. So Assassin Roommate is basically pretty much in the title, Assassin Roommate. It's about this girl named Maggie, who is a trained assassin. She has a best friend named oh my god, I can't believe I'm drawing blanks on stuff now. Her best friend she lives with her best friend, and then she finds she puts an ad in a newspaper for a roommate, and this cute guy named Kurt responds to the ad, and then things ensue because he's like the full-on jock and everything, and at first she doesn't like him and he doesn't like her, but eventually everything starts to form and sort of get into a relationship, and then she meets a new guy, and then everything gets a little bit more complicated, all the while trying to manage her job as an assassin, and she's a kick-ass assassin at that too. It's not many comics or readings that you can see that a full-figured woman who's an assassin and is kicking everybody's ass, and she still has time to go and watch her favorite dinosaur reality TV show, which is so funny just saying it out loud, and eating pizza and you know, having a good old time, shooting the shit with her friend, you know, and Kurt and the other mystery guy. But like I said, it's a cool series. I enjoy it. I'm about to finish read. See, sometimes my brain says watch because I watch things like it's like an anime. So yes, I'm going to literally watch season 5. No, I'm gonna be reading season 5. I also started reading 2 romance. One's called Death of a Pop Star, and I thought the concept was kind of interesting. I was like, Death of a Pop Star? What's going on with that? That is written by, oh my goodness, I can't remember her name now, and I feel so bad. I want to give her a shout out, but if I don't remember, I'll just put it in my comments and you know, my section or whatever. I'll just write it down for you guys. Death of a Pop Star is pretty much a story of this young up and coming pop star. She has like the #1 song, and apparently she had just finished the commercial. And long story short, she went to go retrieve her cell phone that she left in her dressing room, and someone behind her pushes her down a flight of stairs, and unfortunately she passes away. She has like a sort of her spirit comes out of her body, and she's pretty much like arguing to try to get back. She's fighting to get back into her body. And one of the things about it was funny because then Death appears, and Death is like this cute guy. He's kind of hot, and his name is Elijah. He has like short, like gray hair or whatever. And the funny thing is, Death tells her that he's her biggest fan, and he's like, well, you know, maybe you could let me go back in my body. He's like, I can't do that. That's not how this works. And then she's like, well, I'll do anything. I just now started, and I can't leave my aunt behind because she's been there for me from the very beginning. And he said, well, okay, well, the first thing you could do is you're going to be my fiance. And she says, done. And then once she says done, she gets back her body, and then she's in a coma. She wakes up, and then she starts attending school and whatnot. And her friend, who's also an up-and-coming pop star and stuff like that, is now doing commercials and stuff like that. She goes about her business, and Death or Elijah has this guy that he has to look after, which is the King of Hell's son. And the son is like really a slacker type, and that's why he got sent to have Death take care of him and pretty much show him the ropes, you know. And he decides he wants to attend school, so he attends the school, and it happens to be the same school that the pop star attends. And then once he finds out that his friend actually lied and say, you know, it's just basically a lot of stuff. His friend finds out that Death lied about this girl's, you know, dying and stuff. So he's condemned to pretty much be the servant to the King of Hell. And it's so weird because there's one part where he's massaging his feet, and he just has like this really disgusted look on his face, and it's like, how does one get here? You know. And so he ends up finding out that, you know, the guy who he's supposed to look after, the son of the king, is now sent to go and take her soul. So he's like, I can't have that. So now he has to go and rescue her from his friend. And his friend finds out that he's back on Earth, and then it just becomes this whole big thing. And while the whole time she's just trying to manage her life, and it's in shambles because nobody seems to like her, and it's sad because she's really genuinely a nice person, and a lot of the stuff that happened to her really didn't need to happen to her. So it's just one of those unfortunate situations. And like I said, I'm gonna put in the description the name of the artist and the writer for The Death of a Pop Star. The next one that I'm actually reading is called Nice to Meet You, and that's by Wish Room. It's kind of like a play on the word mushroom, but it's like Wish Room instead. And you can find Wish Room also on Instagram, because I noticed that she also has an Instagram page, and I'm not sure if she has a Patreon, but I'm actually gonna look into that for you guys. She's pretty cool. I like this story as well. And this was about a college student who's pretty much had a bad relationship in the past with a guy, and you know, she kind of comes off really ditzy, and she also loves to draw. So how she meets the male character, which is, his name is Days, and I was like, I'm not sure if his name was Daze or whatever, but it's Days. And Days is like this, he's kind of sort of like an uptight guy. He wears glasses and stuff like that. And he kind of comes off rather stiff at times. They meet by the fact that she stole his school ID card, and then from that moment it just leads into a whole slew of craziness, like guys interested in her, and now it seems like the two of them might have a budding relationship as a result of, him now trying to find out more about her. And how she came to like him is because she likes to draw, so she was using him as a muse, and that's how everything started between the two of them. But it's a really cute series if you guys are interested in romance. And I just literally started Lore Olympus like maybe a few hours ago, so I'm trying to like get my foot into that one as well, while trying to read any upcoming parts of the other episodes. Oh guys, I'm sorry, I'm tongue tied. So it's a lot. Pretty much I'm reading like 4 different things at once, plus trying to manage that and do the reviews and put the reviews on my actual blog page. So like I said, when I'm done, I'll just give you guys like the review aspect and put it on my website, so you guys have that to read as well. And if you want, we could also go back and forth in the comments and talk about whether or not you guys read these books and stuff that I've mentioned. And and if you didn't, then you guys are more than welcome to read it if you want to. Well, I guess that's it, and it was nice chilling with you guys. It was awesome, and I hope to be back with another episode of the Samantha K Experience. And y'all take care. Have a good night. Bye.